Good for you, AI. Keep it up. Work hard. So we don't have to.
Right? But at the same time, we can get too dependent on it. Come from a
Yes.
teacher who's dependent on it.
Wally. Yeah. Sorry, old movie. That's
No,
so
I love Wally.
awesome.
Wally.
Yeah, that's better. That's like
Eba.
Wally is awesome.
Oh, and you know, it really just shows you like when you do things right, you don't need speech actually. And this goes against, you know, we teach singing, we teach vocal expressions, but as a movie, you still can get the feels just with the music alone and gestures.
You can.
And
I find
still
it fascinating.
cry like a baby, even if you're like 40 years old.
Yeah. I'm always fascinated by different ways of movie making where you can have very little speech and lots of music, or the exact opposite, which the first time I saw that, I watched 2001 as a child and went, this is the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
because there was no music. And then you get older and you get wiser and you realize that, okay, there was a reason there was no music. There wasn't supposed to be much music until it was important. The music that made the music more important by not having any music in it.
Yeah. And honestly, like I felt like a lot of kids actually did enjoy Wall-E. Because it really
kids liked it.
engaged in their like cognitive thinking and stuff like that. And like it really triggered like, you know, how triggered like empathy, and they were really like going into it.
Yeah, it was great. So I watched this week just a bunch of reviews, and hilarious. I love the brand Anker. So I was just like, I wonder if they make cameras. I was like, ooh, they do. They've got to be good because they get great reviews from all these magazines. I was like, wait, magazines, they all suck because they get paid to give good reviews. Let's go online. And I was watching some guy, he was trying not to actually say his real opinion. And I was like, shouldn't he be saying how terrible this Anker camera is? Because he was comparing it to a Brio, which was, I didn't realize how unfair that was.
Yeah.
Until I saw two things. The Keo Pro,
also your camera's off, just to let you know.
Why is my camera off?
I don't know.
Sorry, I forgot. I'm usually the one starting videos and I don't have to do that. And so the ones that I was looking at, of course, was the Razer Keo Pro Ultra. Way too long of a name, but I was watching a video in awe of the clarity. Absolute, incredible. Like, how can it? The guy was even saying, he was saying, I normally use a DSLR for everything, and this camera, I may never need to do that again because of the clarity. Then the other one, of course, was the Insta360. So I don't like to compare them because they're great in completely different ways. Yeah.
A lot of people like don't realize that you have to find the correct camera for you. Just because it's like popular or it's like it's the way to go doesn't mean it's, you know, it's going to be based on what you need.
Yeah.
So like the Brio may work for someone else, but the Insta360 might be fantastic for another person.
Right. Well, imagine you are teaching like bands and you have like a rock band and you've got like 4 people and you want to be able to easily, very quickly pan from one to the next. The Insta360 is like, boom, next to this person, boom. And the camera, I was watching, he was like, watch this. It was like, boom. I was like, wait, did the camera really move that fast? I was like, oh my God. It was like, yeah, watch, I can make it hit my ceiling. And it was like, it was on him. It was like, watch, ceiling, boom. And it wasn't slow. It wasn't like, let's go to the ceiling. It was like on him, boom, ceiling. It was like, watch, want to see it hit the floor? Boom, floor. I was like, I've never seen a camera react that fast and that accurately before, ever. It was phenomenal to see that.
Imagine like that'll be like a seriously game changer, especially like if you have like online recitals or you want to stream your recital, so more people or some more of like the students' families just want to check in, or even plays too.
So it can pan from whoever is taught, or even like if a kid is walking up, if you're having an in-person recital and they're walking up, it can follow them up to the stage and things like that. And then like the Razer Keo just blew me away at if you just need just face on the absolute clarity, not of how clear his face was, but everything in the picture was so clear. That was why he was saying this is like a DSLR, because every single piece of the picture was crystal clear. So where the Insta360, his face was clear, but everything else was blurry.
Yeah.
But the cool thing the Insta360 did is the one guy that I watched showed, he's like, okay, I've got this little, he had like a die. He had like dice or something. He said it normally will focus on your face if it sees a face. So that can be good and bad if you need it to. But he said he did this with it. He like held a marble up this close and it was crystal clear. The Brio can't do that.
I wonder how the Insta360 would actually compare to a GoPro in those types of situations.
I think it would be better because like the GoPros are great, except they're too wide of an angle. So once you narrow the angle, the quality of the picture lowers. So even though they have 8K cameras, which is really nice with a GoPro, I love my older GoPro. I have a 4K GoPro. So it's like a 12-year-old GoPro, but it's still awesome. It only does 50.
GoPro 10?
Yeah, that's a lot newer. That's one of the newer ones.
Yeah.
Like, mine's like the 4 or 5. It's like old.
Still
like
good though.
Old. And I've used it to just clamp it onto my fence to just have it like go for an hour and videotape like birds and things and ducks and just if they go by my fence and just like it's just cool to be able to get like that semi close up. Sometimes they'll come right up to the camera, which is really, really cool.
Oh,
so to do that.
First of all, I just love because I know that we were talking about the cameras and stuff like that for the teachers, like for this podcast, and just like, and you were just like messaging me before this meeting, and then you're like, oh, we forgot to introduce ourselves because we got excited.
Yes, we did.
With the cameras. Hi, Phil.
Hi, Rosita.
Good morning, guys.
Yes,
Phil,
we are. Yeah.
When you want to tell the audience, who are you?
Who are I?
The ESL teacher in me.
Who are I? Hey, we just said language doesn't matter. All it is a way of communication. It is only a way of communication. Grammar is not important as long as the other person understands you, right? I love ending sentences wrong. Like this. So, I am Philip. I am Philip Fullerton. I am a piano and voice teacher, online only. I don't teach anyone in person anymore. Maybe one day, just for fun. When I move, I'll have my little tiny house studio. That's my goal, a tiny house studio.
There you go. Your little class shack.
Yes, I could call it Class Shack. I like that. And the B-52s are playing. You know, every time you pass the the store Lovesac, every time I pass that, all I can do is hear the B-50. Oh, it's a great store. I don't really want any of their stuff but it's like, it sounds really disgusting. I know.
I have to Google this. Like, what kind of store is this?
Lovesac, I think is what it is. It's
that's even worse. Lovesac.
Yes. You build your own furniture
company?
Yes, well, you build your own furniture and you can create any shape furniture you want. You can put your furniture in a square and put like, I don't know, bouncy balls in the middle if you like, or a sand pit in the middle if you like, or if you're really weird and eccentric. So it's really cool. But I always hear the B-52s as I pass by that store in the mall. So
yeah. And by the way, this company is real. I'm Googling it right now. And hey, you get to save up to 35% off.
Yes.
Have surround sound in your couch.
Yeah, you can build in speakers. You actually can put the speakers into the couch and all that stuff. It's pretty cool.
I think this just came up to like an advertisement for Lovesac.
I know, unfortunately, and I do not have any of their furniture because I'm way too cheap to have their furniture.
And I never heard of you guys until that.
I'm super cheap. Yes.
This
is why I have a $100 microphone.
IKEA, although
that's another episode, though.
And, Ashley.
Cheap to expensive microphones is another episode, so we'll talk about that later.
Yes. We're definitely gonna talk about microphones. But today we are going to be talking about cameras, and we're going to be talking about, essentially what you'll need like in your online tutoring business or teaching business if you're a teacher online. We'll definitely get to that. And hi guys, I am Rosita. I am a vocal and language coach. I teach people how to speak and sing in different languages. I teach people, online and in person. I'm also an education coach and learning specialist in addition. So I do have experience in teaching classrooms. I've taught in after school programs. So I can relate to those in classroom teachers, and we can vet together.
Yes.
But
so between the two of us, we have dozens
covered.
of years of experience. I love that. If you get enough people in on a podcast, you can say we have hundreds of years of experience.
Well, hundreds of years. Well, dude, you're looking great for being over 100.
Yes, exactly. Well, when you get multiple people, you just add their experiences together.
Oh God. Like in total, we have 100 years. I don't know how old you are, but
between the two of us, we've got like over 60 years of experience. It's great.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. 20 over here. And I guess 40 for you.
I've got 30. Yeah, I don't know, 30 something years of experience, sort of. I mean, I've been teaching since college, and that was in the 90s. So I first taught a lesson in 1995.
So you're essentially a middle-aged man in career.
Yes. And in reality. It's okay. It's absolutely okay. It's fine. I don't need to live to be 150. So
you don't want to be in part of the blue zone?
No, not really. I'll just reincarnate. I'll be okay. As something like a dragonfly or something.
A dragonfly?
So yeah. I don't know. Dragonflies are cool.
They are cool. They make great tattoos, even though I don't have one, but
they do. Yeah, I hate tattoos, but they are cool though. So what are we talking about today?
That's hold the phone. So this is our very first, actually podcast that we're launching here. So first, before we're going to talk about what this channel is about. And like I mentioned, this is our very first podcast in public. Every time we've had meetings, it just sounded like a podcast anyways. Yeah. So it's just two teachers that have and own their own tutoring business. And we're going to be talking about EdTech, essentially. The technology, the evolution of online teaching. And we're talking about the different platforms that exist. And also, we're going to be talking about teacher training, teacher strategies. We're also going to be talking about, classroom management, whether it be online and or in person, and how we can apply that to just online teaching as well. Because, I don't know about you, but I started teaching online since 2009. When did you start teaching online?
Probably about the same time, maybe a little bit later than that. I was testing online teaching around that time by giving my mom piano lessons online. And back then it was pretty much Skype is what everybody would be using, because that's just about all. It's the only worthwhile thing that existed. So we used Skype, and it actually worked surprisingly well, even back then. For what it was
back then, and now it's
all blown up.
It exists.
There's a million ways to get video. We're using Zoom right now, but we don't have to.
No, we don't. We can use Google Classroom, and there is, what was it, Microsoft Meets? No, I'm thinking of Google Meets. Microsoft
Teams. There's Microsoft Teams as well as their Skype as well.
Yeah.
There's Cisco has one. Don't touch it. I already forgot what it's called. I tried it once. It was terrible. It tried to take over my computer.
No, yes. I still have it on my computer. I'm like, I thought I deleted you.
Yeah, you almost can't, because Cisco is that company. It's like, no, we're too smart for you.
Just go away.
And then there's all the really great audio programs like Sonobus. Sonobus is like a game changer of people being able to finally almost play at the same time at a distance and play and kind of gig together, whatever, play and sing together at the same time. It is non-video because it helps with lag, and it's absolutely phenomenal for that. So there's so many options out there.
There really is, especially for those that are interested in teaching music, whether it be piano or singing or violin, and you're having like these recitals, or if you guys are, have a band too. Like these elements are just, there's so much now that's available compared to back in the day.
Absolutely.
There's such an evolution, and I feel like it just like really exploded post-COVID.
It did. It absolutely did, because people realized that we needed to have something we could do at home. We needed to have a way of learning. We needed to have a way of communicating where we weren't face to face, and didn't feel scared to talk to people anymore. So we could actually do this thing.
Yeah, like VR classroom setups. Have you ever tried that?
I have not tried that out. I've seen some of there's a couple VR language programs out there, and I'm waiting for a good one to come around that gets better reviews. But there are some that look really cool because it's just like you're able to like talk to, I guess, real people.
Yes.
In a VR room, which is really a cool idea to kind of encourage. There's even VR classroom things for kids where they get to potentially go and pet a dinosaur, things like that. Just so many cool new things that help.
Just really being innovative, and also just having that immersion in that subject. I mean, imagine just pretending that you can actually touch a dinosaur.
Ride a pterodactyl.
It's there you go.
I know. It's like you're a pterodactyl rider. I don't know, whatever.
Oh God, my twisted brain just went to and also experienced medieval times and experienced like a medieval toilet.
Ew. Yeah. That so you have to add smell-o-vision to your VR goggles.
No, I'm good. I'm good with that. I'm
yeah.
When it comes to bad smells, I'm good without it.
I'm keeping the smell part out of my VR.
Well, yeah, there can be pros and cons, especially like if it's a cooking class or something. But
you're still not getting the right smell because it's trying to simulate smells. So one day they'll be able to do it well enough to trick everyone's brain.
I was just going to say, because we have like oils now that has like different scents. Just imagine just someone for immersive whatever, they're going to use that as an excuse and then have like bathroom smell oils.
Medieval bathroom smell oil. Yes. Poopery.
Take that idea.
Medieval poopery. Yeah.
Don't do it. If it's a good smell, then okay.
Yes, I don't think any medieval smells are good. I love medieval, like Renaissance fairs and medieval fairs, but I enjoy the modern smell of them.
Yeah.
Incense and bathing. That's about it. So we should talk about, we're going to talk about cameras maybe.
Yeah.
Or is that what we're
Yes, we're going to be talking about cameras. Like one of the biggest things, especially what happened with COVID, and even if you were not a teacher, was finding the correct camera for remote work.
Yeah.
And, and people Google like best cameras of 2020. And I just feel like even though for those that have worked remotely pre-COVID, was that it's always been a thing, guys. Finding the correct webcam for your office, especially doing meetings and such. But here was a question for you, Phil. For those that do not know, what is the difference between, like, say, a regular webcam versus a streaming webcam?
I don't really think there's a ton of difference. The streaming webcams are just supposed to be like quicker responsive, like the Razer. Was it Razer? The Razer cameras are really great streaming cameras. They're great for people who are gamer streamers because it's able to keep up with what what is on the screen. So a lot of gamers are gaming at 60 frames a second, sometimes 120 games a second if they've got that crazy fast of a computer. But if they're doing 60 frames a second, you need a camera that can keep up with that as while still having a clear, crisp picture. And those kind of cameras are going to cost more. Now, one of the issues I have is there are so many companies out there that will say streaming camera, but it's really not all that great.
So what you're saying is that when people are looking for an online camera or when they're looking for a webcam, the camera has to match the power of their computer.
Yeah, and actually their needs. So let's say you are a gamer streamer. The Razer Keo Pro or the Keo Pro Ultra is probably you're going to see as the most recommended camera. It's not the camera I use. The newest one, the Ultra, you can only get on their website because they can't make enough to keep up with demand. That's how popular and great the camera is. But yeah, it's it's a long name, Razer Keo Pro Ultra. It's got 4 names. Razer is the brand name. Razer.
I wonder. Well, I was going to say a stupid joke, but continue on. It's like a super long name. It's like so are Spanish names. So I wonder if that's Spanish.
Well, if we just translate it to German, it'll be one word, so it'll be fine. It'd be one word this long. Let's not do that. Luckily, neither of us speak German, so otherwise we would be doing that right now. So that's like a really great streamer camera. But do I use it? No. Would I love those cameras? I think it would be a nice camera, but they are $300 cameras each. I need multiple cameras. So it is a wonderful camera. I use personally the Logitech Brio. Logitech Brio is the kind of flagship 4K camera. It's been around for a while, so of course there are 2 other brands of cameras, Razer being one of them, that are higher end but cost 2 times as much. So it depends on what you really need or want. I find that I'm using a Logitech right now. You can see how clear the picture is. I'm clear. You can see me. You can also see everything in my background. So for teachers, one thing that can be really nice, imagine you have a nice big window in your room and you're using a lower end Logitech or a Microsoft or a whatever, an Anchor camera, and you open that blind like I'm about to do. Doesn't really, no, it makes me a little more orangey. Makes me look like
it's adding some red to your color.
So it makes me look like I have a bad tan, but you can still see me.
Well, you are in Florida.
Yeah, I am in Florida, so maybe I do have a bad tan. I don't know. Maybe I do have an orange spray on tan. So I'm going to close that because that looks so interesting, but For this episode, I did not plug in one of my old Logitechs. I will do that next time so people can see the difference. I'm not going to go find it.
That'd be a good idea. So I know I have a couple of Logitechs on my own, including a Logitech Brio. That is my go-to, as we were talking last week, like my go-to travel camera. Right now, I'm actually just using my FaceTime camera on my iMac.
Yeah, those are great cameras too.
And
but we don't know who they use because, Apple doesn't tell you what company makes their cameras. It's a secretive thing. Yeah, it's in a secret factory in a private island in the middle of the ocean.
And then I do have a Logitech. Let me just pull up my Logitech H Hub really fast. And I do have to do the I have a Logitech Stream Cam.
Yep, I had one of those.
So, did you see did you see, guys, like how it just like auto focused on my face?
Yeah.
So like that's what I love about streaming cameras just in general, but the Logitech Brio does the same. It auto focuses.
Yep.
And I love this because obviously I'm at an angle, so I'm like, "Hi guys." Making sure like I kind of have that experience of looking directly at you. Like, did you do your homework? Did you do your warm-ups? But also, I do have a DSLR. And for those that are watching, Phil, how would you how would you explain the difference between a streaming camera and a DSLR?
Ooh, that's a good one. This is where that new Razor kind of starts to get into the kind of range or level of a DSLR. The biggest difference is the DSLR is the lens you're using. It's got a big lens. This camera right here has a lens that's about this big. And that stream cam that you're using has an even smaller lens.
Yes.
So
Like
you can tell, and you can tell the difference. Now, like even with the camera that comes directly on an Apple, you can even see that the Apple has a clearer, brighter picture. But you see, it's a brighter picture, but it's a little washed out. Now,
yeah, it has a lot of white elements to it. But to be fair, that can be also my lighting. So I have light panels in front of me, but guys, I'm going to use the echo word. So if you have an ALEXA, you might want to mute this now. Actually, you know what? I'm going to mute myself really fast. So this is I have no lights on, and you can still, and I have my windows open, but to be fair, it's a cloudy day in Cali, but you still can see me, like how focused I am still.
Yeah, those do a really good job. I mean, switch to your Logitech, see how it does.
Oh, you won't be able to see me, dude.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You will not be able to see me. Oh, wait, you still can see me ish.
It's okay. Now let's see what mine does in total darkness. It does okay.
And I do have a DSLR. I am going to ask my husband to actually fix it because I do have a cable issue on my end. Luckily, my husband is a photographer and knows everything about cameras and streaming and all of that. So he's been a godsend.
So right now I have the only light is coming through my blackout curtain that's back here. Cause you know how blackout curtains are. They're not really blackout curtains.
No.
You can still see the light coming through.
They're like deflectors.
That is that light and the light from my monitor. My monitor is is the light, and the Brio. This is how bright the Brio. Now the Brio does, of course, make you look like you have an orange spray on tan, but when you do this, but it's still, for how dark it is in this room, I can barely see my keyboard. That's how dark it is in this room right now. And so it does a really good job. The Logitechs actually do pretty good, and so do the Apple cameras.
They do.
Good job.
But you have a Windows, because I know your feelings about Apple.
Yes, I'll be right back.
For the viewers, can we see your Windows camera? Making sure that you're getting.
I'm on a desktop computer, so I don't have one.
Huh?
I'm on a desktop computer, so no built-in camera. My monitor is huge. So the monitor is right here. It's on the wall. So the computer is back there. You can see my mess, my chessboard, everything.
Hey, that's nice. Oh, chess.
My 1985.
No, that was not a Totoro. That was a cat. Or was that? Hold on. Okay, yeah. That looks like a Pokemon.
It's
like
a bat.
A gray version. Oh, it's a bat?
It's a bat. There's a bat. And then a bunny dog toy. That was the last toy I gave my dog before he died. The bat is mine, though.
Oh. All right. Okay, I'm going to get some light here. Okay.
Okay, my next question is do you speak to Alexa in English or Spanish or Japanese?
I speak to her in English.
Now I gave you a bunch of ideas. You're like, wait a minute, I can switch her.
No, actually, I've heard her speak Spanish, and it just makes me mad.
Well, we have Mexican friends, and when we've been to their house, she always talks to her Alexa in Spanish. So it's just funny to hear it. I was just like, really? I didn't even expect her to do that because she speaks to everyone in English. But
and to be honest, I don't know if Alexa speaks Japanese. I've never tried.
Oh, I bet you it does. See, now you're going to want to try it.
Alexa, do you speak Japanese?
Yes, I speak Japanese. To change my default.
She speaks everything. What do you mean?
Select device settings.
Okay, Alexa, stop.
Now everybody's Alexa. I don't have one in my room.
Sorry.
Said
Sorry,
So-
guys.
I do that to my students sometimes.
Don't hate me.
So the cameras. So I want to get back to the DSLR. It's a bigger lens. So a bigger lens is able to manipulate light better. That's the whole point. That's why a DSLR has such a large lens. Where webcams need to keep the cost down versus all of the other stuff it needs to do. So it needs to be compact. It needs to be able to be more portable. Where the razors are they're round and they're bigger. They're a little bulkier looking. So that's where they have the newest razor has a large lens. Now, some of the reviews I read said that the lens of a good DSLR is still up to about 4 times bigger than the new razor, which means it's about 8 to 16 times bigger than all the Logitech cameras.
And for those that do not know what a DSLR looks like, this doesn't have a lens, but it's like one of these cameras.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, and if you want to use a DSLR, that's a good thing to show. It's like you don't have to go to your local camera store and buy a $5,000 Nikon camera.
No, you don't. Honestly, the one that I'm using is I'm using a Canon EOS, and that cost me like $400. But to be honest with you, I film a lot of courses and stuff like that, so I need that higher quality. So you guys can buy them.
And you don't have to have a camcorder, because the DSLR is a point and shoot camera, sort of, that all of the new ones are able to do video, and they do video surprisingly well.
They do.
You don't like camcorders are kind of unless you are a professional videographer, camcorders are totally unnecessary for anyone anymore.
Yeah.
Those kind of cameras do everything you need. You don't even have to go as high end as Rosita has done. So just for everyone, explain to them, how does it, I mean, unless your husband does that and you're like, he does this and I don't even have a clue how it connects, but how does it connect to your computer? Because obviously it doesn't or does it have like just a USB port in the back that it just goes plug and play? Or is there something else you have to connect?
No, you need a cam link.
Okay.
So basically a cam link is essentially a connector from your that connects to your DSLR to your USB-C port. And then it acts as your webcam per se. And also you will need a battery, but not like one of those batteries that you charge. It's it connects to also like the cam link. So you'll never have to charge your battery at all.
Perfect.
So
that's why I asked that, because I knew there was an answer to that. And I couldn't remember the words I knew remember what it was called, the cam link. So that's why I said, please explain that.
Yeah, and it's and the reason why I'm not showing it to you guys is actually one of the wires is a bit wonky. So hopefully, and I'll beg my husband after this to get a new wire
to go on to Monoprice
so
or Amazon or something.
Yeah, I will admit though, the initial cam link itself, it is on the pricier end. So I have the Cam Link 4K Plus. It's an HDMI video capture. So it's for those that are into like film, it's essentially it's a capture card. And I'm going to actually switch my camera because I keep forgetting to look at my Logitech. Hold on, FaceTime.
Aha. There we go.
So the Cam Link 4K is $80. The one I have is specifically the Elgato Cam Link 4K. I'll leave an affiliate link on the description so you guys can check it out. But it's fantastic if you want a higher quality streaming experience. And when it focuses. It's really great.
And that's one of the things about DSLR is the focus will be where exactly you want it. And you can, I mean, with the Logitechs, you can do manual focus, but I generally suggest against it. You want it to be auto. With the DSLR, if you really need it to focus to a certain point, it will do it so perfectly that it's going to just look so much cleaner and clearer.
Yeah, it really, really does. So once again, to use your DSLR as a camera or as a webcam, because it is a camera, duh. Plug your HDMI card from your camera into the capture card, then plug your capture card into your HDMI port on your desktop or computer.
Yes.
So
Now, if you are someone that's saying, wow, you guys are talking about cameras that like start at $150 and go up from there, but I don't want to spend $150.
oh, there's
So
great budget friendly webcams
yeah,
out there.
like the one that Rosita is, her stream cam is like $100. That's like $100 camera now, I think, or maybe
Yeah.
it's somewhere around there. But
let
there's
me-
even cheaper ones.
Give me a
Logitech
second.
has lower end ones, even.
It's there's a new
I
one.
haven't-
There's a the one I have is $96.90.
Yeah, which is not bad, and it is worth at least getting that one. You can often find the Brios, which are a little bit higher end.
They're about like 130 if I'm
for
not
like
mistaken.
130, and just depending on what you need. And the Brios have a little bit higher quality video, which is why I use it, and it does really good with backlighting.
Yeah, and if you guys actually are able to, honestly, the Logitech Brio is the best to go. And I know that a lot of people are going to say the same thing, but there's a reason why we'll always constantly recommend the Logitech Brio, because it is indeed that good.
Yeah, and at $130 versus the Razer and the Insta360, which are $300+ cameras, if you can afford it, get those. If you don't need it though, just get a Brio. They're perfectly good cameras.
Yeah. And like I said, I use my Brio typically when when I'm traveling. So when I'm doing my online lessons, like I cannot explain how durable it is.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, I treat it like a baby. You know, I put it in like the cloth and around it. But I brought my Brio like to Japan and to England, just like everywhere, and it survived. So, and it's, if you're looking for something that's also durable and that you know that it's going to last for a long time, the Brio is the way to go. I've had that camera for what, 4 years now?
Yes.
I want to say.
And neither of us work for Logitech. Just as a
No. Oh yeah, we don't work for Logitech. we're fanboy fangirls for Logitech.
yes. They are.
We honestly just love their products because it's been very consistent. And I think that is the biggest thing about us fanning over Logitech. Because they're overall, because let's see, I've used Logitech for my own tutoring business at least a good decade.
Yeah, I've been doing the same thing, and I will think about buying something else. Like when I was buying my last Logitech, I looked at that versus the Razer Keo Pro. The Ultra wasn't out yet, and I went with another Logitech, not because of the price, because they're both about the same price point. The Ultra is $300, the regular is only about the same price as the Logitech. I just went with it just because of, for me, two things. I went with consistency. Of the quality of cameras when I'm using, multiple cameras like this. So if I have different cameras, like multiple cameras, I want to have some consistency in in the coloring of everything. And that the Razer Keo Pro was not quite as good if I just feel like I really want to open my window. It's like a nice day outside and I open all that and there's a lot of light behind me. It actually does a really good job. The Logitech did a little bit better job of handling that.
Yeah. Sorry, in addition to that, there is a good alternative for a Logitech Brio. And it's what's it called? The Logitech C920X.
Oh yeah, I used to have the old C920. I had one. I used it for so many years that it eventually got old and decided to die.
Yeah, it's
That's how
such
long
a
I
good
used it.
alternative.
Yeah.
So,
And it was inexpensive. I used to have 3 of those. No, that's something. Webcams do eventually die, just like any living thing.
yeah. And the C920X, I mean, you can get it for like what, $70 on
Yeah.
Amazon?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
and sometimes, you know what,
Like
if
half
you
the
really want to
cost
go
of a
cheaper,
Brio.
you know, if Amazon has used stuff, as long as it's, you know, used stuff is fine. I've bought so many used things on Amazon. I don't buy used books anymore. Used to, but don't do that. But
Yeah,
everything else
I'm
is
too
fine.
chicken to buy the used stuff. Unless like I bought the only times I've used is actually for books. So
Mhm.
sometimes if like there's a textbook that a school uses that is
Yeah.
out of print, schools don't
Yeah.
do that. I will find it on Amazon.
And then you have to look at all the stuff people wrote inside or whatever the
Hey,
book.
you know, sometimes they're like hidden treasures. They're like, oh, that's actually really good tips. That's like really good notes. So
Sometimes it's good, and then
sometimes like there are benefits to that.
and sometimes you open one of those piano books and and all of the letters are written in above every single note, and then you just I don't know. Then you
Yeah,
just buy
it's
it.
different with piano books. It's different with piano books for sure.
Kind of like that, but yeah. So these are all great cameras. There are other options out there. Something I suggest people do is when you look up reviews of cameras. So I like to read magazine reviews. I like Tom's Guide, Tom's
Love
Hardware
that.
Guide. That one is usually pretty honest. I'm going to be blunt and say that I don't necessarily trust a lot of them because sometimes they will say this is the #1 camera, and then I'll go and watch a ton of video reviews telling me the exact opposite. Video reviews are great because you can see it yourself. It's not just somebody telling you this is the best camera, you should buy it. They're showing you why it's the best camera, and it's usually people who do this for a living who work with cameras. One guy I was watching who was looking at the Razer Kio Pro Ultra,
Mhm.
and he was comparing it to his DSLR, and he was just like, "You can really not tell a difference. It's that good." He's like he said the lens is not as big; it's a lot bigger than normal for a webcam. He said, but it was enough to, make the camera that good. He said, but you're paying $300. And he's like, if you really wanted to save, you could buy a used DSLR. You could buy all the cam link. And once you've bought it all, you could spend 300 or even a little less. And he's like, so it just depends on how much work you want to do.
Yeah, it depends what you work. And I think that we really didn't emphasize like what are the things that you should be looking for when having a webcam for your online tutoring business. Whether you be, a music tutor or an algebra teacher or whatever type of educator you are. One, you want to look at your resolution and frame rate. So the higher the resolution means a clear picture.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to look for. Sorry, my mom just sent me a message. Talk about distraction. Hi, guys. We want to look for a camera that can handle at least 720. But honestly, what's recommended would be 1080p or higher.
Yeah.
Because that will give you more of a professional look.
Yeah. And most cameras today, I don't even think go below 1080 anymore anyway. Most of the ones you can buy, the newer ones. And just like Rosita was saying with those, so don't think about what you're doing with like a video conferencing call, because a video conferencing isn't even going to be 720. I don't care how good your connection is, not even going to be that high. So right now, our video that we're doing on Zoom is somewhere between 480 and 720, usually depending on the time. And I can even check it in Zoom right now. I go into here, I go into the video, and right now we are at 360. Wonderful. Okay, so we're below the 420 that I said. And yes, it looks okay, but the good quality camera does still help because it's sending a better quality video. And then when you're making your own videos to put online, you don't want something that's doing, 420 or 720 or whatever, 480 or 720. You want 1080 or 4K. I generally suggest just uploading at 1080 just because of saving time.
For saving time and also saving space.
Saving
especially,
space.
Like if you have to download your video, so if you are using Zoom or Google Classroom and you need to download those videos and send them to the students or whatnot, or teachers, keep it at 1080p. Don't download it in 4K. That's so much.
I uploaded something. It was a few years ago. I started uploading some of my videos onto YouTube in 4K, and then I have fiber, and I was realizing how long it was taking to upload them with my gig connection, and I was like, wow. I need to stop doing this.
You need a hard drive, literally.
Yeah, all my 1080 ones were just like uploading, done. Really? Except for like hour-long ones. Hour-long ones maybe took 5 minutes to upload. No. The 4K versions, like estimated time, 5 hours.
1080.
And 7 minutes.
I'm sorry, you guys aren't gonna get 1080. I love each and every single one of you, but I also want to make sure that my computer doesn't crash when I'm teaching you guys. Because I mean, I have an iMac, and it's wrong, but I'm not going to chance it.
Well, right now, okay, so I am using 1080, and I mean, of course, it has a little bit of graininess to it, but if I upgrade it to, let's see, okay, there's my not frames per second. We need to do 60 frames a second because it can't handle that. So I switch to 4K. I'm going to freeze for just a second. Here's where am I going to freeze? Come on, freeze. There we go. I froze. And all right, now I'm at 4K. Do you see a difference?
It's very subtle. Like very, very subtle.
Yeah, and you have to be looking for it. And even then, I wonder if we're all seeing it because we want to. Okay, back to 1080.
There was a very slight upgrade from like at least what I saw.
I just downgraded back down, and you can tell a little bit of difference.
You can see that slight. You can see it more as you transitioned back.
Yeah.
So
and I mean, sometimes if I've had if I'm teaching and if I have a student with really, really like terrible internet, I do two things. I'll lower my resolution to 720, which I'm about to do right now. And then if I'm using Zoom, whoops, come on, Zoom, don't do this to me. Okay, there we go.
That's just like, no.
I go into the Zoom video settings and I do the most terrible thing, but it's so useful. If someone has terrible internet, some of what can hurt a lesson is your video stream is too good for what they can handle. So you turn your HD off and then boom, it looks just as good. I mean, it doesn't look great, but it looks good enough.
Yeah, it's like you still can see each other, but most importantly is you're able to hear each other.
Yeah, I barely can tell a difference. Let's see, that's HD off, HD on. It makes me a little cleaner looking.
Yeah.
I don't hit the touch up my appearance.
A little bit cleaner and just...
I'm making myself look 20 again. There we go. Oh, that's terrible. I hate that. Okay.
Also, some of the things that when looking for a webcam is that, and I understand that there's a lot of people out there that are not tech savvy. So we want to make sure that we at least give you some terms and what they mean so you know exactly what you're looking for so you don't buy the wrong camera. So we can give you all the suggestions you want, but optimally we do want you to do your own research.
Yeah. And that said, that made me think of one other thing that is super helpful for everybody that the Logitech Brio does that none of the other Logitechs do, is it has a separate cable. It is not a built-in cable. So as soon as I get my Brios, I throw away the cable it comes with and I get a 10-foot cable. Now, there's a reason I get a 10-foot cable. Because I know there's that question. Well, why 10-foot? Why don't you get a 20-foot cable? Well, because there aren't 20-foot cables. Well, why aren't there 20-foot cables? Because 20-foot USB cables don't work. Once you get beyond 10-foot with USB, it degrades the signal and your computer at some point will stop receiving the signal. I used to try to push my cables beyond 10 to 15, 20 feet, and then they would work, and then they would just decide, well, we're not going to work right now, and the computer would stop receiving the signal. So don't use couplers, don't combine two cables. When you're using USB, one USB cable,
Or
10
USB
foot or less.
connectors.
Connectors. Yes, do not. Yeah, sorry, did I say couplers? Whatever. Connectors.
The connectors. Yeah.
Yeah, don't use a USB like extender or anything like. I used to use USB extensions, but I would have so many issues. So keep your cables to 10 foot or less. And you can look this up. This is a real thing. It's not just, an old wives' tale that, your computers start to fail when you go beyond 10 feet. It isn't anything like that. It really does make a difference. And make sure you buy USB 3 cables, even though the Brio is a USB 2 device, by the way. It's not a USB 3 device. Even though it goes into the USB-C slot, it's still USB 2. Buy the fastest cables and buy a 10-foot cable. That way you can extend it out as far as you need to.
That's a great advice.
It's very helpful because what comes on like the Stream Cam, I think is like a 6-foot cable, something like that.
So yeah, and of course, again, like it's not mandatory for you to buy a 10-foot cable. Let's just say that too.
But they're cheap, though. By the way,
they are cheap. They are cheap. But also, like if you're clumsy like me that trips over air, and you're not really good in cable management, just saying,
buy a 2-foot cable. And if it's only connecting if you're using a laptop and if it's connecting from the USB slot to the top, don't throw away the cable it came with. Use that cable.
Yeah.
Waste your money.
It's an extra charger for some.
Yeah, use it for that and buy yourself a shorter cable instead of buying yourself a longer cable. It's whatever you needed, whatever you need. The 10-foot or less thing, it won't be better. It won't be better quality if it's shorter. It's just you're not going to trip over yourself.
Yeah, it's also like, again, it goes back to what do you need it for?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So like you're using it to move different angles for like your piano to show the angle of the piano to your students and stuff like that. So there's many alternatives, and eventually we're going to show like our personal setups too. Well, you kind of did earlier.
What is he using? What is that? How is he connecting his cameras? Yes, a camera can be on a camera tripod. It's still a real camera.
What? A camera holding a tripod holding a camera?
Wow, that's amazing. I didn't think that could be done ever. And then or a boom mic or a boom stand. Not a boom mic. It's not a boom mic. Boom stand holding a camera.
Elgato, guys, I'm telling you.
Are you saying the cat?
No. Oh yes, Elgato. No, I'm talking the actual brand.
Oh,
the brand.
All I keep hearing is cat. I'm like, why does she keep saying cat in Spanish?
No, there's a brand that I absolutely love, guys, and they have boom stands. It's fantastic if you do a lot of just like online work, or if you work remotely. There's a brand called Elgato.
It's just Elgato, ELG.
But the Spanish in me went to say El Gato.
That's why I keep hearing two words. I kept hearing El Gato. And I was just like, what is she saying?
I was trying to go gringa. I can't.
Well, I was like, well, she's saying
gringa,
it. But,
okay.
And I was also going, but Rosita's not saying it with an accent.
Okay, hold on. Let me
she's saying it like I was saying
Elgato.
Elgato. She's saying it like I do. That's better. El Gato. I was like, what?
El Gato.
El Gato.
But yeah, so Elgato, if you go to their, I will link their stuff. But a lot of my boom stands, like they're holding my light panels, they're holding my DSLR, it's holding my Logitech. I mean, I just love them so much, and they actually do have their own webcam. I personally have not used them yet, but Black Friday is coming up. Maybe I should, spend on some money to try these
Try
things.
some different things out. That is something to be said
we'll do
for
it for you guys, but you guys don't
something.
have to. We'll do some reviews.
Because like I was saying with I said sort of at the beginning of this is the Anchor brand. I love that brand for everything. And then I just watched a review of their camera and just went, oh my gosh, why do they make cameras? Because I'm comparing it to a Brio or I'm comparing it to a Razer. And that's an unfortunate thing to do because the Anchor camera costs half or less. So you know, I shouldn't expect it to be amazing. And maybe that's all you need. Maybe you don't need it to be an absolutely perfect picture. You know, you're just trying to teach people something and you don't need to have a cinema quality picture.
Yeah, you don't need to have a misconception especially when it comes to like online teaching is that you have to have the best of the best of the best of the best. No, you do not. And sometimes the best of the best is not going to have or do what you want the thing for. So again, like you have to customize it based on what you are teaching and based on how you teach as well. So these are like key components to keep in mind.
Yes.
Also, one thing that we did not talk about is frame rates.
Yeah. So that can be important depending on what you do. And something to know about frame rates is really interesting. So webcams generally, they only go up to 60, and most DSLRs don't even, like, unless you go above the $300 range, a lot of them still don't even go that high, go up to 60 unless you're at 720. So the Brio doesn't go up to 60 unless you go to 1080. So it does 1080 to 60.
40, I think. Like
well, it does 60 at 1080, and then it does 4K at 30.
Okay, yeah, I know this. Okay.
It can do that. The new Razer does the same thing. So most of them can go above 30. Now, when do you really need high frame rate? If you are a gamer, again, you need the 60. And you're probably going to want the Razer running at 1080, 60 frames.
And not just like a gamer, like if you're a teacher that streams on Twitch.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
or anything like that.
Streaming your content. It's the 60, even though it's like the highest, will be the best for you. So you want to treat if you stream your content or any live streaming that you may do, you want essentially what would a streamer have?
Yeah. And it does go back to what you need it for. Like if you are, depending on what you're teaching, how smooth do you need the movement to be?
And that's what a frame rate is. So a frame rate affects the quote unquote smoothness of video playback.
Yeah.
So
and then
30 is about standard and 60 is like the max, but it's going to provide like a much smoother and a more professional experience.
And a good way to think of it, like when you are watching your TV, new TVs now will do 4K 60. They're 60 hertz TVs. You can get 120 hertz TVs, which means it's 120 frame rate. Most of the things that are streamed to your TV are at 30, but that 60 or 120 still makes it look smoother. It looks smoother on the screen. So like if you're an ASL teacher, you may want a little bit higher frame rate for your videos that you're streaming because your hands are moving. As soon as you start talking fast, you know, you don't want it to be all over the place, you know.
What do you mean all over the place? That's how I teach.
And so that does make a difference. Now, if you're teaching like a private lesson, 30 is all you really need because it's not going to go higher than that. I mean, Zoom isn't going to let you go higher than 30 anyway. But frame rate of the camera helps it. You know that the camera can handle what you need it to do. So it just goes back to what do you need for what you're like?
And how does internet connection impact?
Ooh, yeah, internet connection is huge. So
a lot of people don't realize that the internet that you have, the speed that you have impacts, not only your connection, but also the video quality. Regardless, even if you have a DSLR, like it's going to impact your video quality.
It absolutely does because like if I go into like the statistics we have for Zoom right now, it shows me the speed that I'm sending information to Rosita and how fast I'm getting it back. And usually it goes somewhere up around 1 megabit per second sent and received. Now, we both have pretty good internet. Now, if I have someone like I'm on fiber, and if I have a student who is also on fiber, every now and then we get that
But I have
2-3 megabit connection. And it does make a difference. Now, not everyone can get that, but getting whatever the best speed you can does make a difference. Don't ever go with Spectrum has this deal bless you,
Hey,
for like
thank you.
$20
I have
a month.
Spectrum. Hold on.
No, Spectrum is great, but if you're getting Spectrum, you don't go like, well, they've got this deal for $20 a month, and I get 1 megabit upload, and I get nope, don't go with that.
No.
Always go higher. And the one thing to look for, and ask them is, what is your upload speed? If you're on a fiber network, fiber is the same down and up, and they will tell you right out. So if you have Spectrum fiber, if you've got 500 megabit Spectrum fiber, you have 500 megabit up.
Yeah, I have 500 megabits.
So you have the 500 down. So
Yeah, I have Internet Ultra.
which means you probably have
my Spectrum.
So that means you have, if you're on cable and not Spectrum fiber, then you have 20 megabit upload probably. So if you did like a speedtest.net, that would help. So that's somewhere you can do. You just go to speedtest.net. You hit go. It'll tell you your download and upload speeds. And if you're on cable, you'll usually get, depending on what you have, 300 to 500 meg download, and usually 15 to 30 meg upload. They can go higher, but they generally don't. Now, if you're on fiber, again, it's going to be about the same either way. So it does affect it, and you want to make sure your upload speed is as high as you can get it. If you're on cable, again, if you're on fiber, don't worry about it. The slowest speed you can get is fast enough usually on fiber.
Yeah. Like I think actually now we have fiber in our area, so I need to talk to John to see if we can
See if they'll upgrade you.
Yeah.
It's amazing the first time you get fiber.
Mother of macaronis. Sorry. It's just now at the beginning of this when we're talking about Lovesack.
Now you're getting ads.
No, I'm getting ads in my email.
In your email already. See, that's what you get every time I say something to Rosita about a new company. She gets ads. I don't remember what the last one was.
Oh, it was the trombone dude.
Oh yeah, now you're going to get more about him again. Oh, you just said dude, so it'll be okay.
Yeah, I said dude. It'll be like saying Voldemort.
Yeah, don't say his real name.
I know.
It's another word for
One
dude.
that should not be named.
It's good. I'll come up with another company next time. I'll
please don't.
think of a good one.
Please don't.
Next thing you know, your husband like, what is this new couch? It's great. It plays music out of it.
And it only cost $16,000.
And the whole thing vibrates when something explodes on the screen.
No, I'd rather spend $5,000 on a massage chair. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That and a Tesla, please, and thank you.
And a Tesla with a massage chair.
Which I'm not gonna lie. I'm so upset that I actually want a Tesla.
Yeah.
Because in the state of California, there's I think it's by 28, and where they're gonna stop selling gas cars. I mean, they're gonna start selling like new ones. They'll still have like used ones and stuff like that, but they're really trying to push on having like EV vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's really redundant, but so I was kind of like,
now I'm going to think that. I can't believe you just took the redundancy in my head, and that's going to bug me. Sorry. Oh, dang it.
electronic vehicles, EV vehicles, more normal. So yeah, so I'm trying to see like what I like and stuff, and I saw a Rivian, and I saw like, granted, I can't afford a Rivian.
I'm going to say, look at the Kias.
The Kias look nice. And according to a YouTube channel that I watch called Korean Englishman, which, by the way, it's fantastic. I just love it. But the Kia EV, they have indeed a massage chair.
Oh.
Like, no joke. Like,
well, and they have the newest versions that are supposed to be coming out have faster charging than Tesla. they're upgrading their charging on the Kia. That was one of their big things is they want to be able to charge a 300 to 400 mile charge in less than an hour. And that's one of their big goals. But you have to have, all this special stuff installed in your house. I don't know, power.
Well, in my apartment complex, like we have like EV like charging stations and stuff like that. And I also can go to South Coast Plaza and charge it there. So like I don't have to worry about it until I buy a house, which buying a house in California, that's fun.
I live in Florida where, like somehow they're probably going to outlaw electric cars soon. I don't know.
Outlaw
Just
what?
making fun of Florida. I like making fun of the state I live in.
It's okay. I like making fun of you guys too. It's all right.
Yeah, because
I mean, I
we
make fun of us too. Don't worry.
We like to outlaw. We like to make.
people, but-
we like to say you shouldn't read Steve Martin's new book. So we also. I'm surprised that. I think the only reason electric vehicles are even allowed in Florida is because everybody loves Elon Musk so much.
Maybe.
But I mean, conservatives and liberals all love and hate him.
Yes. I was actually
That's like-
having this discussion, and I know we're going off way out topic, but
Right.
even though there's a lot of things that, and I know I'm probably going to get some hate when I upload this, but just hear me out. His views I may not agree with, but I still have to respect him as an innovator.
Yeah. And he has his own new AI that his company came out with that is a sarcastic AI that I haven't been able to go and look up and test yet, but it was just on the news this week. And I was like, when I get a chance, I have to go test this because it sounds awesome.
Yeah, because it's the things that he releases, like you just know that it's either going to be great or questionable at this rate,
Yeah.
but he's a risk taker, and I have to give him some credibility.
Yeah, so some
to that
things like
extent.
we may not
I think
like
that
it.
guy is a genius, but with genius, we all know like the genius is not always smart.
Well, I mean, there is
There's
that.
different types of smarts. I'll leave it at that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, and having another AI helps all the other AIs develop. Like his AI is this kind of a fun thing for the most part right now. Even says
Yeah.
one of the
Like a
things-
sarcasm.
Yeah, well, like what they did is they asked it, how do I make cocaine? Just as a joke, and it said what? And then it said number 1, get a chemistry degree, and then it said number 2, get yourself. And it just it just went off on that. And at the end, it said, "This is a joke. Please don't do this." And I was just like, that's actually really smart. So they were smart enough to put that at the end because people are going to take it seriously. It said number 1, get a chemistry degree.
Oh my
It's
God.
just like,
I'm just glad I didn't put that. And I just spit out coffee.
and I love that. It's like, that's just hilarious. Where ChatGPT has no sense of humor. It has a minimal sense of humor, but not to
good
that
dad
point.
jokes.
OpenAI,
OpenAI
but it's
has
just
good
pulling
dad
them
jokes.
off the internet. I mean,
And
it's just-
that's an episode that I really do look forward in doing is AI in education. There is so much of a debate on that, but like I can't. Well, I want to elaborate more on this in the future of how we have to now adapt to in using AI in education. And it's going to really, really be a game changer in making our classes inclusive.
It is. I mean, I know people are scared of AI, and I totally understand it. I get it because, I mean, can it take all our jobs away? In the future, sort of.
I'm going to say no to that because there's going to. I mean, I think it's just going to be more of an assistant than anything else.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
There's so many, like, we're not going to have AI, diagnose us, right, in the medical field.
Eventually, yes, it will, but not necessarily in our lifetime.
We have to, do the human check too.
Yeah, you have to do the human mental check because, I mean, at this point, you need somebody that does that. But would I be okay with like a robot doing my surgery? Like, yeah, actually, because they already do.
That's human error.
Yeah, and that part I like. I like that idea because it's not going to make mistakes the same way humans does. do. See, exactly. It's not going to say humans does either.
And all I'd say is,
It's you dumb humans. Good thing you didn't give us a body. So, and
okay. And, also, going back to webcams, I know we
yes,
just be
last little
totally
thing.
digress there, but Tesla. But now I'm gonna really look into that Kia though. So please subscribe. Help me buy a Kia or help me buy an EV. Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yes,
And help buy Phil whatever he wants to.
you just need 1 million subscribers, and you all have to watch every episode all the way through.
Or just give us 4,000 hours, right? So we can start actually earning. Please.
It'll work.
It'll totally work.
Okay, so then.
Okay, so anyway, so we talked about the resolution and frame rate. So going back to looking for our webcams, we want a higher resolution, meaning a clearer picture. We also talked about frame rates, which affects the smoothness of video playback. So 30 is standard, 60 is more professional, although that's really the max.
Mhm.
Also, another thing to consider is the lens quality. The lens of the webcam is going to affect the image quality. Now, I know that seems like duh, but I cannot tell you how many times it has been overlooked.
And what she means by that is look at the size of the lens, and it should tell you on the package. Like I was saying, the Razer Kiyo Pro Ultra has the largest lens of all the regular webcams, but it's still smaller than a DSLR. So those sizes of the lens make a huge difference. And the reason for it is the amount of light it's able to take in so that its computer system understands what's going on, basically, and it can kind of adapt a little bit better to what's going on in its environment, in your environment.
Yeah.
So all of that. And last little thing, because I have to go in a couple minutes here.
So do I. I have to teach Japanese at 11:30. So.
Oh, goody. Is your computer itself. Should you be using a 15-year-old used laptop? Yes, Rosita answered the question correctly.
That was automatic.
Do you need an 8,000?
Put it into like decoration, the old technology in your house. Put it on a shelf or put it on a desk. Have an old technology museum as a part of the house.
And I suggest if you need to do cheap, go on Dell's website on Black Friday, but please don't buy the $150 laptop. Go at least 1 or 2 steps up. Because it does make a big difference. You don't have to buy the $8,000 MacBook Pro Ultra something or other, whatever they want to call it.
I'm an Apple girl, and I actually have to agree with Phil on this one, even though I want it personally.
Oh, I do too. If someone said, "Hey, you get this,"
it's not necessary.
Yeah.
Again, it kind of goes back to we do not need the most expensive thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And we'll talk about
we should talk about
the
computers
itself.
Dedicate on it for those that are not tech.
Because I can tell what reason someone might go PC or Mac, because there's a lot of great reasons why you might do one or the other.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, right now, most of them are not software based. Most of them are hardware based. Oddly enough, Mac has a lot of things built in that are better. It has a lot of things that are more useful. But there is a cost to it. And that's
there's a high cost to it. And honestly, to be fair, a lot of the cost to it, they upcharge it. I'm not there's no hiding that. I'm gonna call it and be nice and be nice about it, the convenience fee. But honestly, one of the things in the near future that I want to try out is actually build my own computer, even though it will be predominantly Windows.
It has to be PC, but you could do Linux.
Yeah.
No, it can't. No, it just can't be iOS. It doesn't have.
It cannot
to
be iOS.
I was on Linux, so I mean, we'll talk about this in another episode. But I was on Linux for years, and there's so many ways you can go really cheap and still teach.
Yeah, I think the best way, at least for me, is to kind of do mid-tier. Because I'm not going to spend $10,000 in building the ultimate computer. Now, to be fair, an average computer, if you want to build it yourself, it's about $3,000. So essentially, buy a MacBook Pro.
It depends. A $3,000 build-it-yourself computer will be super high-end gamer computer.
Yeah, that would be
it will. So I'm going to put it this way: it will literally blow away your Apple computer. That's how fast it will be. If
I
you
just put
spend
$3,000
$300,
because parts gotten so expensive. So
not as
I'm
bad.
just allowing
So-
me that extra wiggle room.
we'll talk about that too.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Yeah, we'll talk about prices
things.
and
I
all
used
of that.
I worked in the industry for a little while, so I
Yeah.
know things.
And as both of us, we do need to go because we
I need to
actually
get
do
going.
have to teach after this. We
Yes.
are working
Real teacher.
teachers. Please, if you guys enjoyed this podcast, if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe, please like, please share. We're going to have, we scheduled this out. We have scripts and everything, ranging from like education, psychology to, of course, EdTech. When we're talking about platforms, we're going to be talking a little bit about coding and just to get you guys and help you guys really adapt to this new era of education. And please follow us on our socials. We'll leave them in the descriptions below. And if you have any questions or if there's anything that you would like for us to talk about, leave them in the comments below. And Phil, do you want to add some stuff?
I think you said it all. That's perfect. Yeah, just let us know what you want to hear. If you like our excess babbling, that's great. If you don't, you can hit fast forward as you go.
Oh, and we are going to have
find
like
the
an
good
audio
spots.
thing for Spotify as well. So
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, that thing too. So
All right.
Phil,
Thanks.
it's always a
Rosita.
pleasure. And again, I'm not going to lie. Every time like we talk to each other, it should have been like a podcast from before. And it's just nice it's nice to
And
talk.
on the next episode, Rosita and I talk about sports. Just kidding.
No, I will.
We will
no,
never do that. We will
No.
never do that. I
No.
promise.
no. I will fall asleep. I'm sorry.
Well,
Nothing
just-
against sports. Just
We'll talk about Mexican bingo, though.
it's called La Loteria. All right, guys.
All right.
Bye, guys. Bye,
Bye.
Phil.